All right, let's now talk about the progressive view on what's happening in Iran. As we all now know, Donald Trump bombed Iran's nuclear facilities, no congressional vote, no public debate, no heads up to Democratic leadership, and MAGA has been split right down the middle. Some Trump supporters are cheering this on like it's a video game that they love. Others, Tucker Carlson, these sorts of folks, they're furious because Trump said that he was anti-war, even though many of us were smart enough never to fall for it. Trump said he would end the forever wars. He said it would be America first. We all knew it was a show. Trump was never anti-war. He was anti-accountability, that's for sure. He liked the optics of criticizing the Iraq war. But when it comes to actual power, Trump's very happy to use it however he wants, without permission and with no plan. But that's the right. I'm on the left. Much of my audience is on the left. So what I want to talk about is what this looks like from my view, a progressive, anti-authoritarian perspective. Those are my political views. I don't support Iran's regime, but I also don't support Trump's bombing. And if that sounds like a contradiction, it's not. It's called having principles. I oppose Trump's foreign policy and what he did this weekend in principle. You don't fight authoritarianism by copying it. And that's what the bombing was. No imminent threat, no intelligence briefing for Congress, no proof of a ticking clock. Trump's own director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, recently said Iran is not close to a bomb. We've been told Iran is close to a bomb for decades, okay? I have no doubt Iran wants a bomb. I have no doubt that Iran having a bomb would be scary. But I struggle based on the evidence to believe that they were close, such that it enabled Trump to legally do this with no authorization for Congress. Trump didn't even inform Democrats, despite this being an act of war against a sovereign country. And remember that this isn't just about following the rules. We also want to prevent abuse. When we say no one gets to unilaterally start wars, that has to include the president. Once you normalize that, you're no longer defending democracy. You're basically handing over keys to an empire. I believe that bombing Iran strategically helps the regime. It lets them point to the United States as the enemy. It silences internal dissent against the brutal Iranian regime and turns the conversation into, hey, national defense. It undermines the Iranian protesters who don't want Western intervention. They want to build change from within. So Trump's actions are a disaster. But that gets us to the second half of the equation. Again, I am a progressive, anti-authoritarian social democrat. So of course, I vehemently oppose Iran's regime. Iran is a repressive, anti-democratic, rights-violating theocracy. It violates just about every value that I hold. They jail women for showing their hair. They enforce mandatory body covering laws and punish those who resist. Of course, I'm against that. LGBTQ plus Iranians face the death penalty. Some people are executed simply for existing. Same-sex sexual activity is illegal. It's punishable by death under the country's penal code. Of course, I'm against that. Peaceful protesters in Iran are met with bullets and batons, and the government shuts down the internet, rounds up students, vanishes dissidents. By the way, is that sounding familiar to anybody? Iran funds militias across the region. And it exports its brutal authoritarian model. They rig elections. They crush secular movements. They run a state built on surveillance and religious law and propaganda. Of course, I vehemently oppose that regime. And Iran is also one of the few countries that has spent decades threatening the existence of another country, in this case, Israel. Whatever you think about Israel, no progressive can support Iran's threats to wipe countries off the map. So I'm not neutral about Iran. It's an authoritarian regime, and every progressive should oppose it, not just because of what it does abroad, but what it does domestically, how it treats its people. So you can simultaneously oppose Iran's regime unequivocally because you're a progressive, and oppose Donald Trump's bombing for the exact same reason, because you're an anti-authoritarian, pro-democracy progressive. Both are forms of authoritarianism. What Trump is doing is authoritarian. Iran's regime is authoritarian. I'm an anti-authoritarian, and I'm against both. So I do think it's important in this context, just for progressives to really sort of understand that that's not a contradiction. It's saying, what are my values? Let me apply them to what Trump is doing. Well, that's wrong. Let me apply them to what Iran is doing and what Iran is. That's also wrong. That has to be okay. I want to introduce you to an amazing tool that has helped a huge number of people reach their health goals. It is called Lumen, and it's the world's first handheld metabolic coach. It's a device that measures your metabolism through your breath, and on the app, it'll tell you, are you burning fat or carbs, and give you tailored guidance to improve nutrition, workouts, even stress management. Your metabolism is like the engine of your body, how you turn food into fuel. And because your metabolism is at the center of everything your body does, optimal metabolic health can translate to many benefits, including easier weight management and improved energy levels and fitness results. It's a long list. Lumen gives you recommendations to improve metabolic health based on the context of your breath measurement, whether that's first thing in the morning, before and after meals or workouts. And you can get 20% off your Lumen by going to lumen.me/Pacman. The link is in the description.